Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael O'Malley here at the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for June 9th, 2020, recorded around 4:21 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, taking a look here at the latest sea surface temperature anomalies, last updated as of yesterday. Again, this area down here in the Nino 3.4 region is really starting to undergo some very significant changes in terms of the sea surface temperature profile, now beginning to decline here in terms of any El Nino potential. Again, the El Nino conditions are not going to happen this year. There's no such thing to speak about at all. We are likely to head in towards a La Nina by the end of at least this fall into the winter of 2020 and then 2021. This area has significantly cooled off as these easterly trade winds continue to rip across the area, reducing some of these areas down now to near about a whole 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, which is actually right about here below the long-term average. And some of these other areas out here about a full 1 to 1/2 degrees Celsius below the long-term average. In the meantime, in the Atlantic Main Development Region, this area continues to warm very significantly. Again, the only more significantly cool spot is actually over here just to the east of the Cabo Verde Islands there. And we also have this little area down here that's a little bit cooler, but not much. And again, this area is generally running now about a full 1/2 degree to a degree Celsius above the long-term average, and in some cases a full 1/2 degree Celsius above the long-term average. So it is something that is very indicative that this is going to be a very significantly busy hurricane season this year. Also, you notice out here in the southwestern Atlantic over here into the Caribbean, this area is above the long-term average. This area actually over here is the upwelling caused by Tropical Storm Cristobal. All of that deeper convection that was lopsided off to the east was actually able to upwell some of the water. However, this is going to quickly recover over the next several days. It's only going to take a matter of days before this actually recovers, because the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico is very easily warmed. It's not extremely deep like the islands, or not like the islands, but out here in the MDR. This is a little bit more shallower waters per se, not extremely shallow, but it's shallower enough to allow this to actually warm up quite substantially here over the next several days as we kind of get a break from all of that deeper convection. Now, if we take a look here at the upper ocean heat content updated as of this morning, again, you notice out here in the main development region, there is still not a lot to talk about. There's nothing very discernible in terms of the upper ocean heat content numbers. But as we discussed yesterday, in a comparison to only about 6 or 7 days ago, this area down here has warmed quite a bit, and that is going to be lifting north as we go throughout time. Again, it's only June 9th. And as we go through, the rest of June, the rest of July, this area is going to warm up. And you can take my bet on that this area will warm up to be quite substantially now above the long-term average in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies, and as well as the upper ocean heat content will significantly deepen across this area, allowing these tropical waves that come off to potentially develop out in the MDR, and that's certainly a sign that we don't really want to see. This is certainly a thing that is really going to be a problem here as we get towards the peak of season. And, it's going to be something that's concerning. We have to watch this. It is hurricane season. We have to watch this now. Also out here in the southwestern Atlantic and the Caribbean, this area is more than primed. The pump is primed per se, and it is only a matter of time now before something gets a hold and takes advantage of this. And unlike in previous years, we are actually seeing a more favorable state for the tropical Atlantic and the Caribbean. The last significant Caribbean storm was in 2016 with Hurricane Matthew. And that was a time where the Caribbean was a little bit more favorable. Now we're starting to see that pattern set up once again, where the Caribbean is actually turning a little bit more favorable now. There's less vertical wind shear across the Caribbean, less drier air making it into the Caribbean. It's only a matter of time, I do believe, before something comes in here and takes advantage of this higher upper ocean heat content, coupled with the fact that these are the actual sea surface temperatures from the CDAS methodology from tropicaltidbits.com. This is from about 7 o'clock this morning. And again, we've been talking about this, that the Caribbean is just warm. It's, 28, 29 Celsius, close to 90 Fahrenheit. And that's causing more instability down there than normal. Again, Amanda formed over here, but it still took advantage of some of these, warmer than normal waters right there in the Bay of Campeche. Certainly if you think about what became Bertha up here in the Gulf Stream, its tropical wave came through off of Africa and all the way over into here. That helped to develop some convection down in here to bring some rain to the Florida Peninsula and the southern Florida area before it finally went on to develop out here in the Gulf Stream. Now, if this was August, that tropical wave would have likely developed out in here, and, who knows? So, again, it's to paint a picture that now this area is more than supportive, at least in the thermodynamic environment, to support tropical cyclones. The Gulf of Mexico still, you notice some of the cooler waters here that were upwelled, but even these are still favorable for tropical cyclones. 27 Celsius, you need about 26 Celsius for tropical cyclones. This is at 27 Celsius, 27, 28, 29 down here, 29, 28 down here. So this area is more than supportive, and it's only a matter of time, I do believe, even up here in the Gulf Stream. So it's only a matter of time. And if we take a look here at the tropical Atlantic, also from tropicaltidbits.com, again, this magical area that has been west of 50 degrees west now is now starting to backbuild a little bit more now to about 45 west. And again, this will only continue to intensify as we go on throughout time. Again, partially some of the Atlantic Bay development region is already conditionally and marginally supportive of tropical cyclone formations. So, at least in the thermodynamic environment. So it's only a matter of time now before these tropical waves, that, will really get going out here and, could see some development. It's only a matter of time, and it's, it's coming. So be ready for it. Now, if we take a look here at the 850 millibar vorticity, this is coming off the Central University of Wisconsin-Madison website. This is the spin in the atmosphere about 5,000 feet off the ground, updated about 1 o'clock this afternoon. As you start to go towards these reds and whites, that's your more cyclonic spin. It's the more cyclonic spin in the atmosphere. Again, this is our little disturbance out here just to the east of Bermuda. Not expected to do much, but it does have a decent vorticity signature to it, but it's very stretched out. You notice all of this energy that's really stretched. It's not bundled like this energy. This is actually the remnants of tropical depression Cristobal out here. It is still fully tropical at this current time, but it is moving off towards the north here, expected to impact portions of Wisconsin here over the next few days, and then eventually merge with this extratropical low out here and kind of do a rendezvous over here and eventually lose all tropical characteristics. There's also an area of energy out here off south of the Baja of California and off the Mexican coastline there. Not really expecting anything from that. And again, we have this very well-developed tropical wave that's out here that does have some of that curling of the energy, but not really a lot of vorticity source with that either. And if we take a look here at the vertical wind shear, again, you notice that generally for the most part, the Caribbean is, especially the northern Caribbean here, is actually conditionally favorable for tropical cyclones to form. Again, this is our large anticyclone that was that helped to deepen and intensify Cristobal a little bit. But you notice there's still some westerly winds out here, but notice we do have an anticyclone down here that's, right now roughly south of about 10 degrees north. That's about probably sitting about 5 degrees north or so, and, sitting right between 5 north and 10 north. But that's a large anticyclone, and, if this was August, and something was there to take advantage of it, you better bet, it would take advantage of that. So again, we keep, stressing this per se, that it's coming up, and we have all the signs of what could be a fairly busy hurricane season. We've already had 3 named storms, and they didn't even form out in the deep tropics, so just something to monitor there. This is our formation chance over the next couple of days with our Bermuda system. Again, 10% over the next 48 hours and 5 days. not really something to bother with here, but it is something that, we'll kind of keep watching, but no development really expected with that. And this is coming from pivotalweather.com, but this is the Weather Prediction Center quantitative precipitation forecast out to the next 5 days or 120 hours. This is actually kind of the swath associated with Tropical Depression Cristobal, and then it eventually is expected to merge with this extratropical low pressure. It is expected to re-deepen out here and regain some winds, but this will be a non-tropical low after a little bit here. Once it moves into Canada, this could dump here in excess of 1 to 3 inches of rain for portions of northern Canada there. Certainly could see over 4 inches here in southwestern Wisconsin. So there's a lot of rainfall over the next several days for Wisconsin, portions of Canada, northern Missouri, Iowa, even down here into Florida. This is not related to Cristobal, but certainly you can kind of see where the path of Cristobal is over the next several days as it kind of runs up through here over the next while. And this is taking a look at the visible satellite coming from Cloud Meteorology. This is taking a look at the whole entire Atlantic basin here and some of the eastern Pacific as well. You notice that we do have somewhat of a tropical wave that is actually out here south of the Cabo Verde Islands. We also have another one that is approaching the Lesser Antilles right now, and sort of another innocuous tropical wave here approaching the windwards over here. So we do have tropical waves, one here, and one here. And one of these, especially this one over here, with time, it is expected to track into the Caribbean. Now, how well it survives here in the Caribbean, we'll have to see, but some models are indicating something going down over here. Again, it's very early to actually decipher when, but in a typical sense, this is June. Typically, the areas that we watch this time of the year are typically surrounded around this region. So it is June. There is something always to watch now, and it's the hurricane season. We have to be mindful of that. Also, we have this innocuous little looking wave over here and over here. None of these are expected to develop over the next 5 days. There's really no model support at all. And if we take a look here at the Gfs Forecast, it's the 12Z run here, valid as of 1 o'clock this afternoon from tropicaltidbits.com. This is taking a look here at the 850 millibar vorticity. Again, this is our little system out here towards the east of Bermuda, not really expected to develop into much. It's a very open type system, very broad in nature. There's really not a lot going on there. Again, really nothing going on. And finally, by hour 192, the GFS, tries to do something over, in this vicinity, maybe another Central American gyre. But, the European here, just for reference, again, this is our system to the east here at Bermuda. Not expected to do much, might drift further back off towards the west here. Again, something that tries to happen here, that's a big question mark. Whatever little bit of vorticity, it just gets stretched out and nothing really happens. Nothing really happening either in the eastern Pacific here over this part. So really and truly, for the next little while, it does look like things are going to be a little bit quieter now, finally. We are potentially heading towards a little bit of a quieter period. But again, this only goes out to June 19th. There's a lot that can change. And, the pattern can easily flip real quickly. But the overall overwhelming majority of the consensus is that things will stay quiet now for a little bit, but do not let your guard down. Again, it only takes one storm to affect your region. And again, we try to hit on this a bunch of times, but it only takes one storm to ruin everything. So understand that, this is going to be a very busy hurricane season. There's a lot of factors, certainly with these sea surface temperatures favoring more of this AMO phase 1 pattern that typically warms the Atlantic main development region. Whatever waves that kind of decide to come off here, they are probably going to develop in this region. And if they don't, guess where they develop? They develop out in this region where people live. So very important to understand. The sea surface temperatures have an overwhelming effect on the Atlantic hurricane season. But again, even like we saw in 2018, 2019, where the base state wasn't all that favorable for significant, MDR systems, we still saw them, we still got them. It's hurricane season. It's here to stay for the next 175 days, and we got a long while to go. So buckle up, everybody. Again, I want you to be weather aware. This is not focused on hype or anything like that. We want you to be weather aware. We want you to stay safe. That's the biggest goal of why I am here doing this for you guys. This is all for you guys. So, and again, without your support, this wouldn't be, this wouldn't be possible at all. So thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel here over the last several months. Well, we all have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. I am Michael O'Malley, and I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone.